All right, let's get started. So I guess I'm competing with Donald Trump's space. So who knows how many people want to watch that or not? But we don't got time for that. We got to worry about stock market. So we can listen to him with Elon Musk later. So like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for education and entertainment purposes only. There's not a lot to talk about today in the market. So there wasn't a lot of tweets. It's just kind of the market was kind of confused. I think it's waiting for news to drive the next major movement. We have a lot of news events this week, and then black swan situation that could develop with this Iran situation that I believe the market is completely complacent in. That is totally underestimating the potential that a risk that could cause. But hey, that's what the market does. Because why would it? Because most of the time, people back out of these conflicts, and they just like it, in history has shown, recent history, the last 10 to 15 years, when things like this happen, they fizzle out. Because in the end, no one wants to roil the market, the stock market, because that rules everybody. But maybe we're in an era where no one cares about the market anymore, and that may be hard for investors to process, which is why when Russia invaded Kuwait, Ukraine, they first said, well, that would destroy their market. They would never do that. But at some point, they don't give a shit about the market because it's like existential, and there's a more bigger purpose that they see. And that's why a lot of experts don't predict these black swans, because they're not logical, because people sometimes don't do things that seem logical because they have other reasons. And so just don't underestimate what could happen this week if things get out of hand. All right, so the market, I've already gave a market update for anybody who's interested in listening to that. Sorry about that. That was weird. I don't know if somebody else was on the line. That was crazy. All right. Well, anyway, so let's go right to your questions. Go right to anonymous. Again, everybody's freaking out today. Well, I'm not picking on MGI. I'm just picking on everyone freaks out about these little swings. But the big picture is what you got to have in mind. This to me is all noise. I don't trade this. I just watch it eating my popcorn. Now, we want to pump to this sell area. Of course, I'm going to buy like the SQQQ here. Who wouldn't? But in this, I'm not playing. So with stocks like MGI, MIGI, and all these others, yeah, it pumped. But guess what? It's going to fade. It's going to fail, is what's going to do. So whether it pumps or not, it was just a short squeeze. So we're just stuck in a connector. And it will probably come back to retest this low again and probably break it. But let's take a deeper look at everything and just make sure. So there's your connector. So you have a three-wave move down here. So we just have to relabel it a little bit. So it's just gonna play a game like that. See, this is why people have such a hard time trading corrections. Because you could have bought it here, and they got really lucky, right? Or they bought it and it's good. But then the people that are buying this breakout, they're going to find out, oh shit, it's going to be back here. And then they're going to wonder what happened. And then there's people that thought they were lucky. They won't be unless they take a profit today. So you have to be very nimble. But I believe, again, what we're looking at is basically a correction that's going to be more complex, and it's just going to continue on. So let's look at this closer here. So something like that. So 1, 2, 3 connector. One. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3. Let's just take a look here where I put this right here. So we'll probably put the A there and do something like this, and then 3 waves down like that, and then like that. That's what I'll be looking for. So that's what I'm looking for, something like this. I'm not interested in buying it at all in this area, again, because we broke this low. I promise you this is going to reverse. And everyone buying it here is going to get blown up But if you're lucky to play this, you should take your profit and consider yourself fortunate. But this is just a chop. So I don't know when it will reverse, but it should soon at any moment, probably with the rest of the market, and you'll just get a repeat of this leg, of this leg here, but it'll come down as a flat, and it'll come all the way back down. So I don't chase it because we broke this low here. If we didn't break this low, then you could talk me into it as a bottom, but we broke the low. So this is a fake out. This is just a short squeeze to get the shorts out. This is another reason why too shorting is hard for people to trade, because you can't trade it like a bull market because it's so volatile. So when you short, like if let's say you shorted this, you have to take profit and then you have to reshort and then reshort and profit. And so like the best way to illustrate this like in SPY is like here. Like we got the first break, boom, we come in here, we short, bam, profit. We take profit, we come up, boom, reshort, down, take profit, bounce, reshort. You don't just hold your short position or you're not going to really gain anything. So that's trading a bear market is very different than a bull market because the rallies are so strong. So you cannot like buy and hold short positions or triple bear ETFs. You have to buy the triple bear ETF and get out of it, and then let it pull back and buy it back again and then get out of it. You can't just hold it. A bull market is different because it compounds and you don't get these like upward crashes typically, or which would be a downward crash toward the end. So it's very different. So this is going to confuse a lot of people. So what I feel like the best trade setup right now is short NASDAQ right here, if it can do it. It's maybe just as good as this short was right here, with almost the same type of results, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, but more than likely, I bet the market is smart enough to not do that again, and I wonder if it's already topped here. So anyway, that's MGI. So and then let's go to CAN for you. CAN. C-Kanan. Let's take a look here. Remember, the market wants you to buy so bad right now. It's trying to create FOMO. It's trying to generate energy because it's on its death rattle, essentially. It's ready to, it's trying everything it can to keep this thing alive because they know what the stakes are if it doesn't stay alive. So this looks like a 3 up to me. And then that should bring us back down in 3. And looks like that's what's happening here in an ABC. And then you have to race divergence on this leg. And you see I haven't done that yet, but it looks like you're about to. So this definitely has more downside coming to race the divergence. It doesn't look like it's had wave 3 yet occur. So I mean, we could try to label it here. Something like this. ABC. And then this could be a lot of things. Could still be in 2. You could be a 1, 2. Could be a 3, 4. It just could be too many. But I believe you haven't had that wave 3 moment because you have not taken this peak out. It needs to come down. You need to erase divergence, and then the connect. This is finished, and then you could start another cycle higher in 3 waves, just like you have here. All right, thanks for the super chat. All right, Edward, let's go to yours. Pets and spot. Let's take a look at that. Let's see what we got going on here. Pets and spot. Don't have pets. So it's good that you're above this. This, of course, is a very important technically. You have to stay above that line, or it could become a go to zero stock. So if you go below that, this actually looks like it only went up in 3 waves to me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's take a look. Yeah. So unfortunately, it's moving corrective. So more than likely, it's going to break that low. But we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. We'll have to anticipate moving in 3. So we'll just, and then when that final leg is done, you could get a pretty good bounce out of it. So you just kind of have to time this 1, 2, 1, 2. So let's look at where we are with the RSI. Now see, that's pretty good here. That's pretty good. So we could be getting close to the end of this sequence, which is good. And then so yeah, I think like I was saying, you've got more downside, and then it should bounce. Now breaking this low won't prevent it from bouncing, but it just may prevent it from ever going back to all-time highs. But when this sequence finishes, which it should pretty soon, even if it breaks this low, you should get a pretty big bounce out of it, is what I'm thinking. The question is how big will you get a bounce? That I don't know, but I believe there's more downside coming. It looks like to me the sequences aren't done. This doesn't look like an impulse, so more than likely you'll break this low, and then you'll have a pretty big bounce when that happens. Yeah, JPM is one we've done before, and I think I made some comments about it earlier that really rattled people. Let's see where we are with it. So JP Morgan, I don't know, my chart got messed up here. So we were pretty bullish on JP Morgan. Like I've always said about a lot of these stocks, the future is really good, but the path to get there could be quite painful. And I still believe that's the case for many of these. So this was our very bullish interpretation of the chart, but we need to be a little more conservative now that we understand like the overall market direction. So we're going to take a more conservative interpretation on this leg here. So I still like it in the long term, but and again, this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and we'll put the 3 here, the 4 here, maybe one more high if we're lucky, and then a major cycle top in either wave 1 or wave 3. I think it's wave 1, but the RSI didn't really, well, maybe let's take a look at the monthly RSI. Yeah, see how that monthly is below that peak? So more than likely it's not a wave 3 top, it's a wave 1 top. But I do believe it looks like to me maybe one more high, and then it's got a big decline and a big bear market ahead of it, similar to what we saw here. But again, like I said, the path is painful, but the future could be amazing. But how many people will hold it through this painful path? And since it's a 2-wave, it can go all the way back down here and still be bullish. Can you believe that? A lot of people won't believe that. Like if the markets do kind of crash and JP Morgan trades down to 130, we're still above November 22 high, but it would feel like investors lost everything. But yet it's setting you up for a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 for a massive move higher in the future. That looks great to buy. So that's the thing. That's what's so tricky about what's going on. Because I think the path to get to this isn't going to be just like straight up anymore. It's going to be a painful drop. Many will leave the market. Many will lose all their money while this happens. And very few will be able to benefit from this run when it does happen in like 4 or 5 years. I think that's what's going to happen. So you got to understand, preserve your capital. Don't try to catch a fallen knife, but know that at some point, things will get better. So that's what JP Morgan's forecast for me is here. I can't label this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because this is too short for a 3. So, and at a bit higher time frame, someone could try to say, well, maybe it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll come all the way back down to 86. Well, I don't like that either because, again, look at the RSI reset you had here. That's one thing. Let's go to the monthly first, though. Let's go to the monthly. So I don't like that because, one, if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if this is a 3, you don't have any RSI peak here. It's all back here, which indicates to me it's still a wave 1. It's a 1, 2, 1, 2. So I don't think it's that super bearish count, but yeah, I see it pulling back. I see it pulling back, and could this 4 pull back even deeper than where we are? Let's give it the 618 test. We always like to do here. So the 618 is 180. So this 4 can make another dip with the market on the short term, like we've been talking about. So it could actually do this in the short term. It could do this, and then rally to new highs for the final peak. I'm almost expecting that's the case given the overall count in the market that I'm seeing, and that would bring you to 181.59 for a buy opportunity here. So do I like to buy it here? No. Do I like to buy it? Did I want to buy it here? No. Do I want to buy it here? Yeah, maybe this is a good area to buy it for this, try to play this 5. And of course it could always extend and not even be a 5 anymore. All right, so good luck on that. That's what I think is going to happen with JP Morgan, something like this. It's also representative of the stock market, I think. Spotify is was pretty bullish last time I was looking at it. I think it had a breakout, if I remember, but I don't know how it fared in the recent drop last week, how much technical damage was done to it or not. Let's take a look. Oh, looks like I've got that B wave in here. Nice 3-wave move. Yeah, so I'm still looking for this push lower and a flat correction. Now, if we could take this high out, it negates the flat. It negates it, and then it's something else. But I'd be surprised if that happens. Okay, I think that's what's going to happen. And then that sets you up for the next run higher. This would be a good one for buy-in for the long term because it's not really pumped yet. I think this one looks like it wants to break out to blue skies when this flat is finished. And as you know, we called the buy area on our channel here. Again, we called this buy here for long-term investors. At the time, no one wanted to buy it because they weren't profitable, but then they fixed it and they did okay. But here it is. So I think that's the count right now. Good luck with that. Donald, going back to you, CVX. I was looking at that today. It looked like that didn't pump with oil. I was looking at these to see were they moving with oil or not, and you didn't get any movement here. So again, this took a lot of patience. This short took a lot of patience, but we called it here, here, and here, and here. I mean, we called so many opportunities, and then we finally got the wave 3, and now it looks like, did we even get the wave 5? Let me see here. No, we're still in wave 4. So I think we have a 5th wave coming. So either two things are going to happen with Chevron. You're going to get a 5th wave, and then another pump. And then at some point, a big crash, like a big drop where it's lights out, or we're on the eve of that to happen, and it's already this, and we're just ready for a massive meltdown. Boom, right to our target area for long-term investor opportunity. Finally, we get there, and we've been waiting for it. But I don't know if it's a 1-2-1. I don't know. I think I'll label it conservative, but it could be this 4-5. Or 1-2, and you get a crash this week, If it's a 4, you're just going to get a little bit of a 5, and then it's going to pump again. And it could pump all the way back up if it wants to, like it's been doing. It doesn't, who knows. I wouldn't label 3 here. This is not a big enough extension down. UVIX. Yeah, UVIX is one that I've been looking at myself. So UVIX has been tough here. Again, I believe bears overplayed their hand a little bit, pushing it down. So I look like I've gone up in 3 waves here. You've come down in 3. You have this connector, and then you come down in 3. It looks like today we got the reversal on the UVIX. It looks like the cycle's over. As you can see, this downtrend's over. So we're in a new uptrend. We're in a new uptrend that's really just started. Look, the 4 hours, so it's got a lot to go. But the problem is I don't know where it's going to end up. I mean, I think it could easily, it could fill this gap here. It really could. Or it could end up somewhere at 13. But I also show the bigger target just to show it. It could end up in this $30 area. We don't know exactly how this will play out in the next week or two, but it looks pretty good that it's higher again. This kind of had like a wedge. It was in a buy area. A lot of congestion here with technicals and support, but it's again. I think what's happening is there's these entities that use the VIX to manipulate the stock market by shorting it and pushing the VIX down, but it's losing its effectiveness. And today they kind of lost control of that trade because they tried to do that in the mornings. In the morning, they tried to really dump it, but they didn't actually. The market actually sold off with it, which is kind of counterintuitive. Which means they gave up all that firepower and got nothing to show for it. So they quickly abandoned that strategy, which is why the UVIX and VIX rallied and reversed, because it was no longer effective. And even there were signs of that on Friday where it got pushed down 15% or something, and that we only up 50 Dow points, which is nothing. So obviously they've overplayed, they've overdone this. I mean, sure, pushing it down definitely got the market jump started up, but now it's like not really effective. So I think they're giving up on that trade. It is going to kind of come back, and then we'll see what happens with the sell-off. Of course, I think it's a very important level that this 552 holds. I think that's important. So but that's how I look at the UVIX. So I do think the UVIX has still got more upside, and it looks like you made an impulse here. You had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an A, B, C, and you had 1, and now you have a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup going into tomorrow. So what does this tell me? Could we be ready for a big move down tomorrow? Possibly. Now there is a chance it's still 2, and we drop back down to 613. But even then, by breaking this high, as we know in flats, usually no matter what happens in 2, 3 is coming. So it's just a matter of time. So I'll just label it like this for now, and then we'll have to see what the next few days look like. If we get a flat, it drops, and then it runs later, or we just run starting tomorrow. The market's essentially topped already in the swing. There's going to be no pump back up here to the trend line or to this box I have. Like I said, it could easily be finished here. I think it could easily be finished there. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, no divergence. It's kind of weak. Again, it's just having a hard time getting that squeeze going. All right, thanks for the super chat, Lesl FL. Let's take a look at that. FL Foot Locker. Yeah, I've heard about this one on the news. I don't know if we've ever traded it. So I think, yeah, we had 3 waves with a connector. So our buy area is 541. So we're short. Now we could still be in a bigger connector wave, which is probably what's emerging, which will change our target. Yeah, it looks like to me you're going to get and you see that divergence there. So yeah, so you're definitely going to be in a connector wave. It looks like the connector wave wants to morph into something like this, like by coming up in a flat. And again, this is a very popular connector wave. We've seen this a lot, right? Where you get something like this, and then it comes down later. Now, I would go with that possibility as long once this trend line breaks. I think you're right up on it. So that's what I think is going to happen. But you know, you got a little bit of confirmation on that, just a little. So perhaps there is another interpretation, which was the more bearish case, which is this is X, and then you have something like this, and down, and we reverse like tomorrow, like the next couple days, and bam, we hit that target, the $5 target that we have. So I don't think it's likely looking at it, but it's still not technically impossible. So it's tough to say. I would be definitely no trade area for me on this. But if it were to take a dump down, the buy opportunity here was 533. That's the buy. So there it is. So you'll have to decide how you want to play that. You can try to take the long and try to play this upside here and get out. Or you could try to short it, like you said, a short opportunity, and then close it if it breaks above 35.86. So there's a couple ways to play that. EAT. Let's look at EAT here. Brinker International. One, two, three, connector. Let's see here. Looks like actually a 1-2-1-2 setup. So this looks like a very bullish setup to me. But we'll have to just, I want to take another look at it before I confirm this is the count. So this could be about to see the power of wave 3 on the grand super cycle. So I wouldn't short this. I wouldn't short this if this is the count that I'm looking at. So the reason I have this count is the RSI is here. This is higher. You have clearly a lot of divergence. You have divergence at that top, so it looks impulsive. Then you come up again, and then you come back down. But then this is above that peak, which is above that peak. So it looks like to me that's how I'd label it. I wouldn't label it as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because of the fact that one, we took, hold on, let's check it here. Yeah, so I wouldn't label, why was I not going to label that? Yeah, because of this, the way this wave looks here, because this looks very impulsive on the way up, and because we overlap so much, typically you want to move in 3, and you're not really moving in 3, you're moving in 5. It's 5, 5, and let's look at that wave real quick and see if that subdivides into 5 or not on like a daily time frame, and see what that looks like. Yeah, see, it's a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 with an extended 5th. So these waves aren't moving in 3 like I would expect like a lead-in diagonal to do. So for me, I would label it in a more bullish, aggressive manner, which is kind of what we're seeing develop in this chart. I mean, your eyes can see that, right? I mean, your eyes can see 1, 2, let's see here. Let's try to label that right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and now you're down in 3. You erase divergence. It didn't really go that deep. So again, it could be in the middle of a connector, so you still need to be careful. uh, in it because it could still drop, but I just don't know if how likely that's going to be. So I don't think this is a good stock to short personally. Here, we'll take a more conservative view and label that 3 for now. But this could easily be another 1 too. So do something like this, come back down, and then launch out of this. So that's the most probable path, but there's a more bullish path. But when you look at the big picture, it looks to me like it wants to go parabolic, right? It almost looks like it wants to go parabolic. Like if I could kind of draw this the right way, let me get rid of some of this just so you can see it better, right? If I try to draw this, let's try to do it, see if I can do this. Right, it may not be perfect, but you kind of get the idea. It's kind of wanting to do that. I think it wants to go parabolic. That's what I'm seeing here. So good luck with that. Definitely, I don't think I'll short it. What did Brinker is like? What do they do? They own Chili's, Maggiano restaurants. Interesting that they're doing so well, right? I thought the restaurants are, sucking it up, but yeah. I mean, I guess the only other bearish possibility is it's a flat, right? I mean, I guess that's possible. You could try to play the flat short, but you see how that candle got? I don't know. I think this is, I mean, if it does that and holds that low, it's possible. So yeah, maybe you get the flat and you're lucky. You short it, you get the flat, you get this. So maybe the short setup, if you're trying, if you're short, that's what you're hoping for. You short it here and you just close your short above 76.21, and then you just play that and see if you get lucky. Because I can't rule that out either, right? You can't rule that out because that is 3 waves down, and then you crash. So this is possible too, a flat like that. So a lot of possibilities here, but I think ultimately this thing's going to resolve bullish. I think, but I don't know. I think it just depends on what the market wants to do. All right, Jonathan, let's take a look at yours, DJT, and let's see here, DJT. DJT, how's that doing? Now, I told you we broke some key levels, so we'll be heading down in this Y leg, and now we have to finish this. So Y has to have 3 swings down. Looks like you have 1, 2, 3 with a connector. So we'll just kind of so then you probably have something like this. So it's definitely got more downside coming. I don't think it's finished there, but it's just way too much divergence. You need to take this peak out. So this thing's got to go down and take this low out right there. Okay. So this has got more downside. Again, it could even play out in a larger degree connector here or even through here. But whatever happens, it's going lower. And it really has no relation to how popular or what I think of Donald Trump. It has nothing to do there. So anyway, and then let's go to RKLB. Hold on 1 second. All right, RKLB. Let's see here. Rocket Lab. Oh, that was one we did a long maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I want to say. We'll get to it here. All right, so let's see what happened here. So we had that crash. So we didn't get a nice clean impulse. It looks like what happened. Just looking at it here. We got a corrective wave. That's okay because we're in C. So we're taking another look at it. Yeah, it's a little bit different pattern. C comes later. So this connector just extend it, which makes sense for where the rest of the market's going. So yeah, something like this is now what I'm thinking, and then it finished here. Let's see one. Let's look at one more thing here. You know, I only see 3 up. You need to have 5 up here to call it a connector. So we'll have to change our view a little bit. Yeah, we'll just change it to this, like that. And then that means this will be too far for B. So my guess is it's just moving down in 3 here. So we have to go all the way back to the beginning. So it's more bearish than we wanted it to be, but that can happen. All right, so I'll try to give you a target area for when this will end. So that gets you to $2.50. So see how it all changed because of the nature of the wave, because it's turned to corrective and not impulsive. And that's kind of makes sense because impulsive waves are keys to show you the direction of the trend, and corrective waves is counter trend. So it's counter trend, so the trend's still lower. So this makes a lot of sense, but unfortunately, the bullish case just didn't work out on this. It just didn't work out. So that's how I would label it. I can't really think of any other way to label it besides that. So good luck with that. Alrighty, I'll kind of look at our questions, and then looks like I don't have too many people on. I guess everyone's listening to Donald Trump and Elon Musk, which is fine. Hood, Robinhood is let's see here. What's Robinhood up to? So we only came down in 3. We still need so we're coming from the top. So let's take another look. This is only 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to go to the really short cycle. See, no divergence. The whole thing. It's not good. It's not good. It's gonna it could go lower. I think it's going down. I wouldn't buy it. I think it's stuck in this flat. I wouldn't really want to buy it until it broke this high to give me confirmation the correction's over. So I think it's a trap. These are trapping a lot of people for the. And two could still go up higher. Let me see if there's a where I can get a reversal area. It could reverse at 2082, so it could still go higher. And then who knows? But I would say if you could push it above 25, then it's this is just 5 waves, and we just can't see the divergence. It's just the way it is. And I'm sure the market would be way accelerating because that's what this kind of trades with the market, right? And crypto. All right. SQQ, yeah, SQQ has a pretty good setup. If the market will give it to us tomorrow. SQQ, now to sell here, now to buy there, now to sell there, and here's another buy opportunity right here at $9.10. So $9.10 is the buy. Now, of course, it could go deeper, and then we're looking for another push up. To really, then I think things will really stabilize in the market after that's done. Sorry, I didn't have to label it better like this. So, you know, that's what I'm looking for is this 3-wave move back here. Okay, that's what I'm looking for here. And this is something like that. So that's what I'm looking for. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I wouldn't buy it here though. You gotta wait. All right, good luck on that. UVIX I did earlier. UVIX broke out today, reversed, and now it has a tradable area that you could try to buy it against a pivot right here. So as long as above 551, it should be reversing out. We're up in 5. We have a 1-2, maybe a 1-2-1-2. We could still be in a flat, and it could drop to 597, 587, and then find wave 3. It is in a buy area off of this connector. We have 1, 2, 3, a connector, 1, 2, 3 in the buy area. We have a gap here. I believe it's going to at least trade somewhere in this area, but it can even go higher. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes, ends up. But if it breaks that low, today's low, then it's not tradable anymore. I'd recommend leaving the trade. So 557 has to hold. Bitcoin is, Bitcoin I believe still will head lower, but they're doing everything they can to try to save it. Last night was kind of comical with these last gas they're just trying to get a short squeeze. It's just not working. It's just failing every time they try, and they're going to try it again tonight, I think. But this was a short area that held with a nice 3-wave setup for a short here. And then I believe Bitcoin's now in a 1-2-1-2, potentially 1-2, which is a crash. I call it the crash wave setup. So I believe it's in a crash setup. It should drop us down to 55, but God knows it could drop us even lower. I don't know how it will play out. Of course, all it needs to do to negate this is really probably take out this high. Even if it took out this high, we could still be playing around here, but as long as we're below 62,000, the bears are in control. I am looking for one more swing down to 40,000. Okay, and it does look like it wants to go down so bad. It's trying so hard, but they're trying to save it. They're just trying, and it's kind of sad. They just aren't able to get the FOMO, the pump in, and it's just not working. It's just not working, and I think eventually they'll give up. There's a run out of firepower, but believe me, a lot of firepower is being wasted here to try to get this thing to FOMO. Like, let's go, guys. Come on, let's go. And it's just not working. It's just not working. People aren't falling for it. It's bearish. It's bearish. But it can be negated if we can take some of these highs out. So not anything's possible, but as you can see, we're on this downtrend line. Also, we're going to reject it, reject it, reject it on this right on the trend line, which is what you would expect to. All right, Timothy, how are you doing? Let's look at GD. Let's look at GD here. General Dynamics, all right. All right, very bullish. So you see the peak in the wave 3, 4. You see the bearish divergence on 5. So this is almost the end of the grand super cycle for General Dynamics. So dark times are ahead for investors soon. It'll have a catastrophe of some kind with its earnings. It looks like it needs one more high, like a lot of the stocks in the market do. But again, we could be off by a swing, but it looks like to me you need one more high, and that's it. And that should do it. And I'll have that divergence, yeah. So probably one more high. So kind of last inning of this cycle. And again, it looked pretty parabolic, right? I mean, should I be buying or selling here? Right? It looks like, I mean, it's gonna go straight up. It's gonna go back. It can't go backwards. So there's not much. It's pretty much it. You know, always say like, there's always a good way to chart stocks that look like this too. And I always teach like my younger kids, like, hey, if you want to know like when to buy, just draw these sticks like this, these lines connecting, and when they pretty much go straight up and down, it's time to sell, not time to buy. Look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what to do here, right? I mean, what do? I mean, this is like red alert for buyers. I mean, you greedy bastards. How much more do you want? Do you want it to go? I mean, so at some point, it's not going to do that. So it's out of room. Mathematically, it's over. There's no more way of, it's got to correct. It needs to reset everything. So that's how I look at General Dynamics. It's about to peak. But it looked like it needed one more high. Regions Financial. Looks like a big nasty. Now look at this flat. Look at that. Look how nasty that was. I mean, damn. Just destroyed you. Let's see here. We have to actually go to the quarterly time frame and look at this thing. She had a little bit of bullish divergence there. Maybe it's an impulse. We just can't quite see it. Yeah, it looks like it was impulse, and it was a crash correction. Peak. Yeah, strange, because actually I have it, so it is, see, it is a flat, it's just, I'm seeing some divergence there, so let me look at the correction again. Let's look at this thing here. Yeah, bottomed out in 3. I think you got to call it a flat. It just has a look of one. It's not like ideal. It's not ideal, but I think you have to call it that, and you have to just say that's your A, B. So you would put that B there. So maybe it was just a complex correction. Just something like this then. And then this was like something like that. Yeah, but anyway, it doesn't matter for what you're asking for. But So now we're coming off this low here. Looks like you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. Or is it corrective? Looks like a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. But you could still be in wave 2. So the question is, it looks like you see I broke that low right there. So yeah, you're probably still in wave 2. You're in a tricky structure like we see all over this market with these expanded flats, and we'll come down. So I think it has one more low like that coming in an A, B, C here. A, B, C. This looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe another high. Probably needs to go a little bit higher, and then it's got a big drop coming, and then that's it, and then it should hold it. All right, good luck with that. All right, DXCM. Let's see. How's that one been doing? Did it bounce? All right, so this one's tricky because it had such a straight down crash. So again, I just want to show you the shape of the wave. This W had a nice drop, but a big pump in B. You see that big pump? And then another leg lower. Here you have a nice drop, but you don't have the big pump yet. So you need that pump, but then that pump should fail again. So you need to have 5 waves down. It's obvious that's a 3, 4. So I think it has one more low coming to it. So if I'm trying to like chart this, it looks like something to me like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like it's started wave 5. It got rejected right at the neck, the support here, resistance, I'm sorry. As you can see, this is a massive top, massive top. This trend line here, this line, I have dark, is going to be major resistance, super resistance. So it got rejected there, which is what you would expect. And that would drop us 5 down to maybe, you know, it could drop us to like $58, 57. And then maybe you get this B, but this B may only come back up to 77, may only do something like this and maybe take more time, be more complicated. But I still think, unfortunately, it's got another drop in C at some point coming. And then if you look at the big picture, you have this trend line, historical trend line support here at 26. You also have some support here at 40. The Fibonacci buy area is 43.90. So it's a big area that it can bounce and find a low. And of course, in the grand super cycle, there's no guarantee it ever bounces. So that's the other thing you got to think about when you buy this. Because this is a massive top. And a lot of technicians go from the peak, right? They draw a line from the peak to the neckline, and they project that down. Where does that get you? That's negative numbers. Uh-oh. See what I'm saying? It's pretty bad. It's a very big technical breakdown. I'm not going to lie. Now, the company, it doesn't reflect anything with the company, right? You know, I don't believe the news. I think it's just this chart. I think it was just too many people on the one side, the wrong side of the trade, and they're pushing it down. And hopefully we'll find some support here, and we can run in the future. So the future could be really good. You can see much higher prices, but it could be a little bit more pain to come. And I do think this drop in C will be associated with a market-wide sell-off and not necessarily company-specific news is what I'm thinking. I think this is just everything melts down in September-ish is what I'm thinking. Okay, good luck with that one. All right, EL, Carl. EL, what is EL? Wow, it's in a buy area. Let's check out and see if it's still valid or not. Yeah, that's good. All right, it's a buy. I mean, this is where you would want to stick your neck out and buy it. I mean, did everything. Let me check the bot. Let me check it again just to make sure the box is where we'd want it. Yeah. So there you go. So it's a buy for long-term investors that believe in the company. There's your wave 3 right there. Your 4, so your 3 4 is right there. Extended fifth, you lost a whole fifth. There's your wave 4 cluster. You're right there. Everything looks good on this correction for it to bottom out here. Now I will say you usually get a bounce. The bounce can always fail, and the two can go lower. That's I always say that, but it may not. It could hold that. So there you go. I guess everybody in the recession coming up needs to look good. So they'll be selling a lot of makeup, I guess. I don't know. Now, if it does keep dropping, I would keep in mind it could go even lower. It could go to 64. So it could keep going down in this box. Like we can look closer at it and try to check out the swings to see and try to be more precise about where we are in the impulse down. One, two, one, two, one. Yeah, all those 1-2s. Yeah. Yeah, very bearish setup here. So many 1-2s. So as you can see, you see all these 3 4s that have to play out and 5s. I bet it's going to grind lower. So maybe if I was trading, I wouldn't buy it here, even though this is an area that accumulate. I would say you probably want to be a little more patient and try to get it down in these lower areas to let this play out more, is my thinking. Or get a reversal confirmation and then buy it, and not try to like bottom ticket. So good luck on that. All right, Hellstone. Credit rating agencies could be an interesting gauge on the market, kind of like Visa was. By the way, Riley played out. Oh, cool. I'm glad it did. Yeah, I saw a lot. I always forget what I tell you guys on a lot of these stocks, so I hope they all work out. Not everything works out though. So, sometimes it doesn't, but when it does, it's nice to see that. MCO. Let's take a look here. Moody's. So we got a 1-2. See, again, a lot of Elliott Wave folks would go like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh shit, it's gonna crash. I have a different way to label this kind of chart for the credit rating agency. I think it's this, and then this, and then we'll label that wave separately. Now, could it be a flat? Let's look at this bottom. See that and that? So I bet this is a flat in the making. Let me look at the monthly. The monthly doesn't show that. So I'd put more validity in the monthly chart. So I'm actually going to just stay with this more bullish interpretation of it. So looks like it should be topping out in 3 soon. Something like this. And then a big pullback. Okay, so that's that. SPGI. S&P Global. We already have this labeled as a flat that peaked, so we're starting to see that. So why would Moody's be so bullish and S&P Global be so bearish? Maybe Moody's. Let's go back to Moody's. Maybe with Moody's, what I'm looking at is maybe this 3 is here. We just do something like this, and then this when this pulls back, it's like really steep. You know, it does something like that. So it goes from like 500 back down to like 298 or something. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. All right, good luck. Let's see here. FICO. Whoa. Damn. 1, 2. 1, 2. You haven't even taken these peaks out. It's insane. What an insane stock. This had to have been a better investment than Nvidia. Buy it in the credit rating agencies because everyone has to fucking use them. All right, there's your bearish divergence. But you reset the cycle here. So that divergence doesn't really count. Let's see here. Let's go to a higher time frame on that. I'm not sure what happened. Hold on. Let me fix my screen. I don't know what that was all about. Hold on, guys. I just got to get this situated. All right, let me see if that'll work. Yeah, there we go. All right, that's crazy. All right, so going back to it, monthly. Yeah, it's the same cycle. I just had to look at it at the right time frame. So this is a 5. So this should be topping in this 3. Well, no, we didn't see the divergence rate, so it's still not 3. It's wave 1 still. So we're gonna see it top and come all the way back down to, I guess, $1,000, and then it'll continue the moon, I guess. It should come back down here, but it looks like it should peak at any moment. Or actually, it's peaked in 3 of 5. Something like that, I'm thinking. And then it continues. It's on its trajectory. So I think that's. So I don't think it's topped yet. I mean, maybe you could force it a little bit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I could force it. I think it's probably better to do this, and then just say it's in some kind of final move higher. Now you see why the market's in so much danger, guys. I mean, and then if you go to like the monthly, you see these RSIs is still below this. So I still think it's bullish if you can survive this drop coming. This whole fifth will be lost. That's a very interesting chart. All right. And Riley played out. Cool. Alrighty. Yeah. So cool. Here you go, guys. So I think that's it for me tonight. And we'll just take one last look at oh yeah, Riley. Look, that's great. I'm glad Riley worked out for you. Know, I'm seeing he dropped 50% in one day. Yeah, I think I told you guys that was going to get a wipeout. Yeah, I guess it did get that. That is a wipeout. Yeah, so if technology is going to take a dump, Trade Desk will take a dump, guys. I'm interested in this because everybody again is kind of fixated on every little swing up and down. This looks like it's finally peaked here, and it should be heading lower in another wave down. This looks like nice three waves. So for me, to negate this, it needs to come back and take this high with some divergence. Now, it definitely extended pretty well, but it was in the sell area still. So this was a short area here, and I do believe it's reversing it. So, and then a much better buy opportunity will await down here. But anyway, good luck with that. That's Trade Desk. All right, so scan the market one last time, see if anything interesting happened while we're on. Bitcoin, man, it's trying so hard to break out. God, they're trying so hard. They need to print more tether or something. NQ, like I said, these things I think like a magnet want to come up here to these areas. So I wouldn't be surprised to see whatever news drops in the morning, get people excited, but then reverse. So we'll see. That's the game plan for tomorrow. How's the yen looking these days? Yen did break a cycle, massive peak. So if the yen has started a whole new downtrend lower, I would believe the markets will crash. So, oh, I missed your super chat. Sorry about that. Race divergence is a long explanation that I won't have time to go through, but if you watch enough of my videos, you'll understand it. But basically, it means you want to call wave threes where there's no divergence. A lot of people trade divergences, and but in a wave three, you don't want to see one. I'm looking for your super chat, and I'm not seeing it. Maybe I missed it. Let me go slowly through them all. Oh, there it is. Okay, PLL. Gotcha. All right. There it is. Yeah, I just missed it. Sorry about that. PLL. Let me see here. Kramer was on TV begging people not to buy these lithium plays, so that's bearish. So like I said, this is actually very bad that it broke that low because I think it negates this engine diagonal count. And so now you have to go with a more bearish count. So there's really no buy here anymore. You have to let this wave 5 play out more now that you broke that pivot. So it's got to play out the swings down. So it's got to play 5 waves down. So it changes the whole nature of the correction, which is why I was always careful buying it, because you just don't know exactly what the wave will morph into unless you get that confirmation. So we'll go ahead and start labeling it, and hopefully this will still exist when the correction's over. So as you can see, and like I said, if Kramer's telling people on TV not to buy this stuff, you can guarantee you no one's buying it now. So I believe it's got to unravel like this and then finish all these swings if it can still stay around. It's just not buyable anymore because the ended diagonals negate it, in my opinion. Then the diagonals negate it. So it's just the way it goes. As you can see, as you can see here in the RSI, this pump here, right here, this drop, reset the whole cycle, this whole cycle down, and now you have another one and another one. It's just going to keep going down. So it makes a lot of sense in some ways because the EV makers are screwed. The oil is going to go lower. We have a recession. No one's going to be buying EVs. No one's going to want lithium. It makes a lot of sense fundamentally, which is I think what Kramer was saying today on TV about it. Why I think some dude called him up like asking to buy lithium, and he's like, "Are you like basically?" He's like, "That's just like, are you fucking crazy? Why would you want to buy that?" So I think that if that's the mindset of the fundamental investor, then we're early in wave 3 because yeah, so this discount now aligns with that fundamental like attitude about lithium. So I wouldn't buy lithium. I wouldn't buy it now that it broke that, and I think it's just going to keep going down. So sorry. So yeah, and I'd rather be on the sidelines. Absolutely, I would not want to be. I mean, you could try to short it now. I mean, you really could, like Riley, right? This is what Riley's chart looked like before it dropped 50%. I mean, this is what it looked like. So I mean, it looks something just like this. But I wouldn't do it here. Like if you can get a counter trend rally again, short it against this $12 area. So, or maybe this is a weird connector. So let's say maybe this plays out like that. So the short setup could be right there. I'll try to draw it like right there in this box. Like that. At like 10.80, $11. If it does that, it may not. It may already be too late. It may already be, too late. But I'm just showing you an idea. If it does something like that. We just don't know. And then, yeah, race and divergence is like, let me see if I can give you an example of that. So you can see here there's no divergence at this peak. The price bottomed at exactly where the RSI bottomed. There's no divergence with the RSI to the price. So that signifies it's a third wave. 1, 2, 3, it's a third wave and not a fifth wave of any kind, which is pretty obvious. Now, if we look at this fifth wave here, you see this peak here, and you see that. So that's the wave 3 of the wave 5, but you see how it came up a little bit higher, but the RSI made a lower low, a lower high. That's a bearish divergence at the peak. When I say a race divergence, if you were trading at that peak on July 16th and the market was at 565, I don't know what's going on with my computer. Crazy. If I was trading at 565 at that peak, I would see that divergence. I'll be like, cool, I'm going to short that wave 5. And a lot of the Elliott wave traders do, but sometimes the divergence, sometimes the price could keep running and erase the divergence. Then all of a sudden the RSI comes up, takes that peak out, and now that's not a wave 5 anymore. That's an extension in wave 3. And you're shorting now a wave 3 of 3, which is the worst time to short, which is why a lot of Elliott wave traders get blown up, get their faces blown up trying to top tick the market because they're shorting into wave 3s that extend. So when I say divergence, when I say if divergence is erased, that's what I'm saying you got to be careful of. So when you see a wave 5, there's no guarantee that it will remain a wave 5 until you get that turn and confirmation. Then you know, and you wait for the cycle to break. And I typically wait for the cycle here to break on this trend line. And when I get that break, then I know the top's in. The 5 is in. Then maybe you could be more aggressive on the downside. But I would never try to short like a divergent peak because it could erase divergence. And the opposite is true down here too at the bottom. So that's what that means. But if you watch enough of my videos, you'll figure it out. All right. Yeah, Palantir. I'm curious to look at Palantir. I want to see Palantir real quick and see what that's up to because it made that new high. So I have to go with this really bullish count because there's no other count that works. But like anything, it's gonna probably pull back. Now, is that in 5 or 3? See, it's in 3. So this could be a trap. This could be a trap within this wave too, or something like. Imagine if it's this, guys. Imagine if Palantir is this, and it could be this. It could be this. It could do this. I think. Let's just see if there's a corrective structure. And then that's 3. Yeah, it could do. So yeah, so this structure could do something really tricky like this. I don't like how it looks. I think it's too bullish to go 1 2 1 2 to the moon given the market conditions. I'm gonna go with this, but I won't trade it. I'm definitely on the sidelines. I'm not chasing it. I'm not buying this little dip here. But hey, if the market wants to dump it back down to 20 or 19, I'll buy it. And if it runs, it runs. It's just the way it goes. Yeah, I think it's too bullish to say this is a 1 2 1 2. I think that's like I would have to be a perma bull, but I mean, can you negate that count? You can't. But is this the only stock in the stock market running to new highs? Like, are you telling me Palantir is the most bullish stock in the entire stock market right now? That's what you're telling me. Like, I can't believe that's the case. I can't believe, to me, Palantir will be the most bullish stock in the entire stock market, break into new, swing highs, break into July highs to new run. Then no other stock is doing that now. Not even Nvidia, precious Nvidia, Apple, your 11-day Tesla. No one's doing that, but Palantir. I just can't believe it. I just can't. But I guess if people want to FOMO in, do it. To me, I'm on the sidelines on this. I just can't. I think I would be just perma bull trying to label that like that. I think this is a more realistic labeling, but it's not tradable. Like, I'm just giving you a label on Palantir, but it's not tradable. There's no, in my system, it's not tradable. Maybe a momentum chaser could do it, but it's not tradable in my system. So you guys can do whatever you want to with it. You guys do whatever you want to with it, but I'm not messing around with it here. So anyway, good luck with that. I gave oil on my market update. You can watch it then. Yeah, big time for China, but China is showing that it needs more downside in the Hang Seng. So I think this could be a clue of where I think it's got this push. So I think that's what's coming. Now, would Baba do it? Which I don't know. Maybe Baba can go higher and this happens, but what's cool is when this is set, you could get a big pump in China. We all remember YINN, right? We bought that was this buy right here, YINN, and it went like straight up. I wonder if we'll get kind of the same thing again. That'd be cool. We'll see what happens here. All right, guys, I'm out. Good night, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Big week, and maybe a big day tomorrow.